Give me what I want. Give me what I want. You know what I want. Give me what I want, or I'm gonna continue to hurt people you love. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. You know what I want. You just don't want to give it to me. Give it to me. Give me what I want.
We're gonna give you what you want.
That's not what I want.
What's up, guys? AW here, Air Warrior. What's up? Welcome to Let's Talk Pop, episode 17. 17, Let's Talk Pop. Yes, my 17th episode. Man, I have to admit, it feels like yesterday I started to make this series. It's not that old, actually. I'm ready for my 17th episode. but hey, TW, what's up? But yeah, I feel like it's not that old doing this show, man. At all. I feels like just do this. But yeah, what's up? What's up? What's up, guys? This is Let's Talk Pop. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So if you know what this Let's Talk Pop, it's not a typical Let's Talk Pop episode where I talk about all pop culture stuff, the news of the week. This episode is Star Wars focus-centric episode. It's going to talk about Mandalorian, the latest episode 6. Guns for Hire, that's the name of the episode. And we're going to talk Celebration. What Celebration, the Star Wars Celebration in Europe has told us. I have to put in the link, but okay, so yeah. We're gonna probably there's a lot of interesting things from Celebration today. Today not so much, but Friday and Saturday we got a lot of information on what Lucasfilms has planned for Star Wars. Nothing of films, trailers for shows. And I do have the Asohka trailer. We'll definitely watch that when that comes up. And yeah, okay. So this is Star Wars centric, really. That's why I didn't talk about it yesterday. On my show yesterday, I just purposely decided to not talk about Star Wars yesterday and move it to tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, which is today, technically. But yeah, invites are going out. I'm sending it to our group, Blinded. And please do me for a like, share, subscribe. Please. Okay, so Star Wars recap. It's basically I'm gonna name this. Let's Talk Pop in short form. I would say I can't fit a bigger title because it's only 100 words. Not Twitter, YouTube. But yeah, so Guns for Hire. Let's talk about that. Let's get it out of the way. Okay? After a very good episode 5, The Pirate, the heels off that, Mandalorian started looking like it was going to turn. The show, with season 3, was starting to look like it was going to turn into a positive direction. Right? It looks like it had something there, right? But then this episode comes along. And basically, and it derails that positive momentum that episode 5 gave us. It was false hope. was False Hope, episode 5. Very False Hope. Okay? And we're getting a... Okay. Oh, okay. I hope you're enjoying your time with your family. It's False Hope. But this episode was totally wasted. This episode of Guns for Hire, right? And obviously this episode of Guns for Hire is based on... We get to see the Mandalorians that are mercenaries, right? Mercs, hired to get paid to do the work. Unfortunately, they're only in this episode for like 5 minutes tops. That's it. 5 minute tops. The beginning, have fun. The beginning for like 3-4 minutes, and the end. Okay, maybe 8 minutes, and the end. Basically, the whole show. It's called Guns for Hire, and it refers to the Mandalorians that are mercs. You get to see them, so little of them. They got so little screen time in this show. And it's like, I know. Like, that's not the worst part, man. That's not the worst part about it. Like, the worst part about it is the whole side quest stuff. So stupid. It's so... Blind, please get in here. Let's rip this episode to shreds as fast as possible. Please, let's rip this episode to shreds, please. We need to. We need to bash this episode. Please, please. It's... Look, this episode was bad all around, man. Terrible acting. Oh, whose idea was to have Lizzo in this? Really? Lizzo, what's Lizzo famous for? Her ass? That's it? Is that what she's popular because she's a big ass? And she was like, wasn't she like twerking at a basketball game like a year ago or two? And that's how she got really, really knows by her. I don't know. I know she was trending. She was talking about Twitter about her playing a flute or something. Like, big deal. But like, whose idea was to have Lizzo in this? Like, Jack Black's. Let me put this back up. Jack Black, character was boring as hell, and I'm like, Jack Black. I'm telling you, I think Jack Black did not give a shit. I think he was phoning in his episode, man. Yeah, look at him work alongside, man. Lizzo, a nun actress. Jack Black was not good in this episode either, man. Hey, Blinded.
What's up?
I'm ripping the episode to shreds. I need you to help me rip it to shreds because it was not good. It was a horrible episode.
Yeah, I was telling you, I'm probably like the few people who didn't hate the entire episode, but at the same time, there was points in the episodes that were really bad, mind-boggling bad. What the fuck were they thinking bad? Just, my God.
You would think the title for Guns for Hire, the people that the title is referring to, the Mandalorians that are mercs, you see them more in this episode than just like 5 to 8 minutes of screen time, like 3-4 minutes at the beginning and basically 3 or 4 minutes at the end. Like, isn't the title supposed to be based on them? Like the episode?
The title episode. Yeah, Guns for Hire. Well, I think it was more referring to Bo-Katan and Mandalorian, and I was going to say Mandalorian, no, Din Djarin, because they're hired to solve mystery, right?
Yeah. It's just I think the whole story the crest that the Jack Black and Lizzo sent them on. I think that was like the stupidest thing. The robots have a
It
bar.
was stupid. Yeah, that's what pissed me off about the episode, because it's like I actually do like the idea of the crime CSI, they have to solve like this mystery. Like that was pretty cool, but then for it to just be, oh, it was Christopher Lloyd
Do
the
I
entire
know?
time. It wasn't a well thought out mystery, because it's like, whoa, what the hell? Like there was no hints or anything. It's just there. It's like that's not what a good mystery is.
Couldn't this? I don't know. It's just that couldn't that side mission be like not the 6th episode though? Couldn't
Yeah,
it
no,
change it around?
I
Like,
don't really mind. I agree with Degrassi. Like I like the idea that it was a procedural episode.
eh,
Like it was actually
it's
kind of
just
like, oh yeah, they've never done something like that with Star
and,
Wars.
but you know what it looked like? It looked like all actors and actors that are in that episode phoned it in.
Yeah,
Like
that was
Jack
the
Black wasn't
issue.
phoned.
That was the issue. Did you know in the beginning of the episode with
Yeah.
the what is the team called? Is it called Death Watch? What are they called? Is it Death Watch?
Oh,
Bo-Katan's group. That like
I forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so they have to go and kidnap that prince, right?
Well, they have to take
And
him
the
back.
dialogue and take him back or whatever it was. But
Whoever hired them,
the
yeah.
dialogue and the acting were so corny. It was so bad. It was like, what happened? Like the writing just flipped on a dime on this episode. Just like what the hell happened?
I don't know if it's Lizzo's bad acting that made Jack Black look like a bad actor, or just Jack Black phoned it in first episode.
It was the acting, the dialogue. Like I said, the premise of the episode, I have no problem with. I even like the parts with the droid and,
It's the
Din Djarin
payoff,
kicking
the droid.
Yeah, it's just the payoff, the dialogue, and what happens at the ending of the episode that has no connection with it. Yeah, I agree, Marcus. Lizzo does suck. I don't know why she was like, they should have cast someone else. Yeah, he says Lizzo sucks. Like that was just I don't know what they were thinking. But then I was more upset with the ending of the episode when they're just like they just give
I have the picture.
the black saber to Bo-Katan, and you're like, you could have made a whole entire season of him giving the black saber, the dark saber, whatever you want to call it, to Bo-Katan, right?
She's not even an actress, Marcus. She's not even an actress.
Yeah, she's not even an actress.
And and I don't know. She only got famous because I think that she twerked at a basketball game, and you could see her thong at the basketball game or something.
No, I mean, I think her songs are popular. They're pop songs, right? I mean,
yeah.
But I just didn't think she was. Yeah, like what Degrassi says, she's just not for Star Wars. Like I think someone must have called her agent and said, I want to be playing with Baby Yoda or something. I can see her saying something like that, and that's why she got the job. But I just think not a good idea, and especially if you're going to bring Lizzo on. Why doesn't you like? Why would you
not
give
for
her a
that
role where she has to act? Make her just play herself. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, you could have done a character where it's similar to her. This is a big. I mean, I know it's only be one episode, but she got a lot of screen time.
Yeah, she got a decent amount of screen time. I just think, yeah, I mean, yeah, she sold. Yeah, her music is popular. I agree with that. Yeah. I don't think, yeah, but it's just not good direction.
It's just that she make Jack Black look a bad actor.
Yeah, even Jack Black, I feel like was such a waste of him appearing here. I was kind of surprised. I feel like if they were gonna cast Lizzo, they should have cast Lizzo with a male singer.
Blind.
That's what they should have done.
Look, I saw Mario on the same day I saw Mandalorian season the episode.
Yeah, you told.
But here I saw Mario first. Okay, I saw Mario first. Right. When I do with Mandalorian, when I wake up, get ready, get dressed, get cleaned up, then I watch the Mandalorian, right? But on Wednesday, I saw Mario at a 12:30 screening, right? Time. So I saw that first, and he voiced Bowser, which I thought he was great at. He was great. He was a great Bowser character. But
Mhm.
then I saw this, and when I come home, I rested for like 20 to 30 minutes because I walked home. I needed a little break from walking. Then I turned it on, this Mandalorian, and see the next episodes. This is episode 6, chapter 22, season 3, and I saw
Right.
Jack Black. I'm like, whoa, that I'm like comparing Bowser to this character, and I know that was a voice. Whoa, I'm like, but it looks like he put more effort into being Bowser than this character at all.
Yeah,
This
because
character.
what was this character? Yeah, like why would that's what I'm saying. Why would you get Jack Black to play a character like this?
Yes, I love to
Seems
see.
really weird. Like if you're gonna get Jack Black, you should play a character who's like super heightened. Like it-
I
I just none of the performances in this episode, like they threw me off completely. I felt like I was watching like a high school stage play where they didn't know how to read their lines correctly and everybody was very stiff. And they're like, and then they're also playing it up like it was a soap opera. And it was like,
yeah.
tonally, this just doesn't fit. Like, I mean, this is like maybe if you did this like the first 2 episodes, right? And then you can kind of get like the whole procedural aspect. But to be
You
honest, the mystery was just it was just so disappointing. Like I was like, wow, you just went in a giant circle. Like
This is what I thought. I know. You know what? Technically, the Mando is
that's my
right.
criticism too.
Technically, Mando is right. That yeah. Technically, Mando is right. That thing in episode 2 that captured him, defeated him. So technically, that thing is the holder of the soul, holder of the Darksaber until Bo-Katan used it to kill that thing. So she becomes technically
Right.
the owner. But I kind of agree with a lot of people on that. That's just nothing exciting
That's
about.
them writing themselves out of a corner. That's what that
Yeah,
was. That's why I was pissed off because I'm like, you
go
actually could
ahead.
have done something interesting.
Yeah,
Like you could have, like I said, you could have had a whole episode where maybe Din Djarin, maybe you can imply that Din Djarin has like some sort of force connection, right? Very very small, right? And so he's like, maybe I can make something out of this. Because like for him to just be like, oh yeah, well here, just take it, right? After making some bullcrap
yeah,
excuse.
yeah, yeah. It's like
It just bothered me. It was like,
they
so
should
now what is
they should have
the
just built up
story
to a
about?
battle. They should just build up to the battle where
Yeah, remember we were
Hmm.
all saying that, oh, maybe this is just a season where they're trying to build up to this war,
yeah,
this battle, this conflict. No, no, that's not what they're doing. That's not what
no,
they're doing at all.
no,
And that's my problem. Like I have no issue with filler episodes, long serialized procedural shows, right? Um, but the problem with the show, and I keep saying this, is that there's no overarching story. There's no where is the goal? What is the goal here? Right? We've seen
yeah.
little vignettes of different characters this season, but how is this all connected? What is the big theme? What is the big story arc? That's my problem.
Oh, what the heck, Michael?
What's
Come
up?
on.
Oh my god.
You're funny, Michael. Funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. That's just the whole. That's what happened with
Yeah.
Voldemort here. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. There should be some buildup. There's some conflict that you should have, right? It shouldn't just be him giving up the saber
Oh, because you saved me and you used
he
it
just
because
doesn't
that.
care. Like you
Yeah.
can tell like he just doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care about the traditions.
Yeah.
Dark. He doesn't care about the like. I mean,
And
was.
it's like the thing is like now what
But
is
they
Din
care. They
Djarin?
care. They care.
They care, right?
They
Yeah.
would feel insulted if you just gave it up.
Yeah, it just I don't know, it just sort of like eh. I'm just like writing wise,
Sure,
story
master.
wise, I just sort of like what were they thinking? I really don't know. I don't even know what's
Let me
gonna
find.
happen in the next 2 episodes now. Besides obviously what happened to Moff Gideon. That's really it.
Moff Gideon. Yeah, because yeah. So it sounds like Moff Gideon has been freed from like
I mean,
rival. Rival Mandalorian.
Unless I'm missing something, I really don't see anything Degrassi. I really don't. Like in the other two seasons, you could clearly see there was a direction, and then there was a payoff. As someone, like I said, I'm not super tuned into the animation stuff. I only watch the live action things, so it's like I really don't know, and I feel like if you're trying to appeal to people who like, they should know it's not like Marvel where your fan base is kind of split up, right? So it's like there's certain people who only watch the live action stuff, or they only like the original trilogy or prequels, or
Yeah.
they watch everything, or they are familiar with the extended universe. So it's like they're not really a good job unifying stuff like that, because I haven't really I will get around to watching Rebels and Clone Wars, but it just, something about it just doesn't captivate me or interest me.
Well, like this is a Mandalorian. Like when Mandalorian ends the show,
Right.
that's when they do their movie. That's when you know the movie is gonna come out. We don't know how long that's gonna be, right? Because they say Ahsoka and Book of Fett in Mandalorian is all gonna lead to a movie, right?
Yeah.
So
With
they
what
haven't
Thrawn is the villain. They're gonna the Ahsoka show is not gonna have him as like a major, or he could still be a major villain, but like he somehow gets away, or I don't know. I'm just all the build up to me needs to be, you could see it, and they're getting to it, right? That's part of the story. It's not like, oh yeah, this is just a giant crossover and that's it, right? No, that's not really how a good show works, right? You're building up to something, and there's conflict
Ambassador.
that happens along
Hey,
the way.
Ambassador.
Hey,
What's
Aaron.
up?
What's up?
What's up?
Not much.
So you liked the episode, right? Like,
I will acknowledge there were some issues, but altogether, I don't have a major problem with this episode. I mean, was it a bit jarring seeing Jack Black and Lizzo, who, okay, everybody likes Jack Black for the most part. The only movie I've ever actually seen him in was School of Rock. That's it. And aside from that, I've not really seen him in anything else. So, but he is a decent actor. He's not.
he's a good actor.
He's a good talented actor. Seeing him as a reformed Imperial officer who's now the Duke and everything of I can't remember the name of the planet. Floriza 15, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Was not, and his name is Captain Bombardier. Okay,
Something
that's
like
a
that,
bit out there, but it still fits in the universe. I'm by no means familiar with Lizzo as a musician whatsoever. I know that she is a musician, but I don't know what she does per se. But I will say she was not awful in this. Could they perhaps picked a different actress to play the Duchess of this in this episode? Yeah, they probably could have. But for the one or two scenes that they were in, they were not bad. Now, I will say it was very cool to see Christopher Lloyd in this episode. I was not expecting him and everything at all. And to make him a former separatist sympathizer, or just a separatist period. And then we almost got a name drop and everything when he said the Republican enforcer, and we all knew who he was going to say. It was going to be Anakin Skywalker just before Bo-Katan stuns him.
Mm-hmm.
The mystery of why the droids were malfunctioning, it had potential to be a lot more, but for the purpose of the episode, it wasn't bad. It was interesting to see how repurposed separatist battle droids were being used by a planet that is now ruled over by a former Imperial officer who's been reformed, essentially. It's the way I look at this episode, it kind of pairs with the episode The Convert, the episode featuring Dr. Pershing.
Pershing, yeah, him.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Dr. Pershing.
Third episode.
I see this. I see these two. I see those two episodes paired together. You see how former Imperial officers are acclimating into the Republic, and we see that some of them are doing good in the aftermath of them going through their. I don't want to use the word re-education, but their reformation. I'll use that terminology instead. I do have a issue with Din handing over the Darksaber to Bo and everything to try and get the other Mandalorians in line.
Yeah.
I can't say that that's necessary. It's necessarily a bad thing. Let's be candid here. Him having the Darksaber was purely and totally accidental.
Right.
She should have just taken it and everything from him. But I do see what they were trying to do with that episode, The Mines of Mandalore, where she does rescue him from that. I'm not sure what that creature is. I'm still trying to theorize what the heck that thing is, but
yeah,
I don't want to call it just a plot contrivance because it isn't. There's a reason for that creature being there on Mandalore. Part of me theorizes that it might be something left over from the Separatists that migrated to Mandalore after the Empire bombed it into oblivion. But there's something else to it. I can't figure out what now at this particular time. But as I said in the chat before I came in and everything, her using the Darksaber to rescue Din from that creature does lend credence to her now having ownership of the Darksaber again. But there should have been more build up than just that one situation to lend credence to Din handing over the Darksaber to her. Because let's be honest here, in every situation practically that Din has used the Darksaber, he has utterly failed at it. I mean,
yes.
I don't know all the lore behind the Darksaber, but I'm assuming that it functions in the same way that a regular lightsaber does. That it has a kyber crystal at its core, and that we do know from lore that kyber crystals are semi-sentient, or they are connected. They are an offshoot of the living force. Hence why, and oftentimes kyber crystals pick their owner, kind of the same way that a wizard picks their wand in Harry Potter. So maybe the Darksaber knows that Din isn't its intended master, because the only people that we've ever seen that wield the Darksaber in live action are obviously Moff Gideon before Din just defeats him, and now Bo-Katan. That's it. And even in that one episode in the Book of Boba Fett where Paz Vizsla tries to take the saber from Din, he fails.
Yeah.
Din's able to defeat him and retain control or ownership of the Darksaber.
Yeah.
It makes sense for her to have it, because she seems to have a better time wielding it than Din does. But at the same time, sorry, I don't mean to.
It's because that team, right? At the beginning and the end, right? That was her. That was her team at one point. But it feels like, it doesn't feel like, it seemed, that once she didn't get the Darksaber, they kind of abandoned her. You could tell, they kind of abandoned her, and that guy takes over, right?
Yeah,
she says that.
Yeah. So the only way for her to prove herself to them is by taking down the leader.
But
they still didn't really fully align with her, because they still wanted her to have the dark. The only way for them to fully align with her is for her to have the Darksaber.
Yeah, which it makes sense.
Yeah,
and thematically, if she is going to be the future ruler of Mandalore, which she very well may be, and Din may be her general, her prime minister, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Then she in theory should have the Darksaber because the ruler of Mandalore is supposed to have it.
And right now she'll end up becoming. I'm pretty convinced she'll end up becoming the ruler of Mandalore. But I think what I think was leading to is that like Degrassi is there should lead to a civil war because I think we all know there's a different sect of Mandalorians out there that are not exactly there's different creeds, right, of the Mandalorians, and there's ones working with the Empire, the First Order, whatever you want to call it at the time, the remnants of the Empire, and that's what we saw that in episode 5, right? Like when they did when Captain
Teva.
Yeah, Captain Teva. Yeah. When they're investigating the ship, the ship that was supposed to bring Moff Gideon to trial. Yeah. The evidence detected Mandalorian stuff.
Well, here's the thing about that, because you remember at the beginning of this episode when the Mandalorians come in to take that Mon Cala prince or nobleman,
the prince,
back to Mon Cala. He says, "You pay us well enough, we are very loyal.
We'll do anything."
I get the impression, I could be entirely wrong, but I get the impression that might have been the group that
that's what I thought
sprung Gideon from the Republic. Now the question is, who put out the contract? Was it somebody Imperial? Was it a random contract? We don't know at this point. I imagine within the next 2 episodes we'll find out for sure.
Or does Moff Gideon have something? Or did Moff Gideon had something planned all along? Or
that's entirely possible too. I mean, let's be honest here. We all saw the expression on Gideon's face when Luke showed up at the end in the final episode of season 2.
Yeah,
he was scared out of his mind.
I would be too. The guy that took off Darth Vader, I would be scared out of my mind too.
Well, there have been several videos done about Gideon's thought process and the lore and the aftermath of the defeat of the Empire at Endor, and that there was a Jedi there, and it was this specific Jedi. A lot of Imperials within the Imperial Remnant would be frightened of Luke because they don't know the exact details of what happened in that throne room. Remember, it was Luke, Vader, and Palpatine. That's it. Nobody knows exactly what happened there after those 2 Imperial guards left.
Right.
And the fact that Vader was seemingly killed, Palpatine was definitely killed. Sorry, you don't come back from that, to quote the holiday special from a couple of years ago.
Unless you clone yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which we know, like, it's happening in this. Like, we know it's happening in the Mandalorian.
Here's the thing. I've had to kind of reconcile within myself how I look at all these new stories, all these new series. Do I want them to connect to the sequel trilogy, which I think is a complete and utter mess? Because these series, these shows have been very good. The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. I imagine Ahsoka will then be very.
The first movie we're gonna get, it's not gonna be connected to these series at all. It's gonna be actually a sequel to episode. Well, it's not gonna be like an episode 10, 11, or 12, but it's gonna be like technically a sequel to episode 9.
Yeah, I know about Rey. I know about the Rey movie.
We're getting that the new Jedi Order. Rey's gonna start a new Jedi Order.
Right.
Right.
But anyway,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Just to finish up my little point here real quick. I look at these shows, I look at these series as I look at the old expanded universe. I look at this as the new EU. You can either take the old or new EU and plug it into the main canon lore, or you can leave it separate. I'm looking at the Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all this other stuff as the new EU. Granted, there have been books. Obviously, there have been video games. the funny thing is, even though they decanonize the old expanded universe, it's still there. It still exists. You can get it in the secondary market.
Mhm.
But they're following a
Mhm.
similar plan with this new expanded universe that the old one did, except they're including these limited series or multi-season series. That's the only big difference with the new EU.
Yeah.
So that's how I take it. So, but
Yeah.
as far as the episode goes, I don't see the massive problems with it the same as everybody else does. Everybody's gonna have a different take. It's just the nature of it. Everybody's gonna have a different take. Some people are gonna go, "Oh, dear heavens, why in the world did you have Christopher Lloyd, Jack Black, and Lizzo in this episode?" And people are gonna be like, "Oh, hey, look, it's Jack Black, Lizzo, and Christopher Lloyd. Cool. It's a one and done."
I hope it's not done with Christopher Lloyd. I'm one like I thought the way they cast they're going to treat him as a bigger
Like he's gonna have
role.
a supporting
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true because they did announce his casting way
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I didn't hear
well,
about any of the castings, but that doesn't necessarily mean
they did
anything.
cast. They did announce the Jack Black Lizzo thing was
Yeah,
totally
that was
surprised.
a secret. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the Christopher Lloyd one was announced. That was
Right.
announced. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. At his age, he wasn't going to be able to do a whole lot, and I didn't expect them to. I wouldn't expect them to do a whole lot with him. You know,
Hey.
he didn't do a whole lot of moving around because at his age, he probably just can't.
Right.
And he
Yeah, we are
doesn't
just
stand-
views.
So
Sorry.
no, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just reviews. Yeah, we were talking about episode 6. You know, 2 more episodes left. 2 more episodes left. You know what? The summer's gonna be busy. Summer's gonna be kind of busy if you're into Disney Plus stuff. Secret Invasion and Ahsoka. Secret Invasion ends, but Ahsoka basically starts.
Well,
Right.
Ahsoka starts in August. Secret Invasion starts in June, if I remember
June.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah.
end of
So
June.
it'll end when Ahsoka starts, right? If it's like 8 or 9 episodes, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I
It's
think
good.
I think Secret Invasion is only 6 though.
6. Oh,
It's a
you could
Let
be
me see.
right.
I'm gonna check again.
Ahsoka, I know for a fact, is 8 episodes.
You could be right. Secret Invasion might be 6.
It is 6 episodes.
Oh,
If they're
crap.
following the formula they've done with the other Marvel series, it's usually 6 episodes. But let's be
I
honest
think they're getting
here,
rid of that, though. I think Secret Invasion might be the last one.
and if that's the case, good, because
Yes.
they really need to. I think they really need to take some more time and do more episodes for these series, as is necessary. Not every episode, not every series has to be be a 20 episode series or season. You can do 12. I mean, look at Andor. Andor had 12 episodes, and it told a tight, concise, very entertaining, very compelling story, and was probably one of the best series thus far that Lucasfilm has put out. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mandalorian's been good. Book of Boba Fett was good. Kenobi was. Kenobi could have been a lot more, but there is still a lot of good in it. I'll put it that way.
I had to drop Kenobi, to be honest. It was boring me, so I just dropped it.
And I understand that. It was the same way with me, the book and the Bad Batch.
Yeah. Give me a
I mean,
second.
I was covering Bad Batch season 1 on my channel, and then I was like, "This is getting boring," and I just stopped. Now I finished the season. I watched it all. I watched the rest of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this actually ended on some of an interesting note." I have not watched the whole run of season 2 of Bad Batch. I tuned in for like the 2-episode arc involving Palpatine and them being on Coruscant and everything, and then the institution of the Stormtrooper Legion. And I tuned in for I watched the last three or 4 episodes, which really surprised me at how good they were, and especially the cliffhanger ending that they ended season 2 on. But I'm like, why couldn't you have made season 2 this good? Because honestly, season 1 is extremely forgettable. So
Yeah. So, see also the Ahsoka trailer.
oh yeah, I've watched it several times now. I was
Oh.
like, holy freaking crap.
Looks good.
That,
huh?
that
You know-
trailer. Yeah, I screenshotted. I think I saw that and I was like, holy crap.
Sabine.
Yeah, I saw Sabine and everything. Also, I actually saw this on Twitter today. I was not aware that Ewan McGregor was married to Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I was completely unaware of that. So, because somebody had put out a tweet saying that Ewan McGregor, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and I think it was their daughter, have all been in Star Wars in one degree or another. Because Ewan's been Obi-Wan. His wife's gonna be the live action Harrison Dula, and then I think I can't remember who their daughter played and everything. It might have been just some random part or whatever. But
I thought they just had a. I thought their daughter's not that old. I thought their daughter's like a few years old. I don't know.
No, this was an older kid as far as the picture looked. So
Okay. I don't know.
The daughter looked like she was in her teens, maybe her late teens. I'm not entirely sure. They had her made up as an alien, so it's not exactly easy to.
They have a son.
That might be it. That might.
He's only he's maybe 2-year-old son and like a 1-year-old son though.
Yeah, it might be his kid from the other marriage.
That's possible too. Yeah, that might be the case.
Yeah, she's she's gonna play Hera. This is a big series. I mean, they're all big series. Book of Fett, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka are all gonna be. The thing is, question: how long is Mandalorian gonna last? I know typically they don't announce. They haven't announced season 4. Like Brian will tell me they'll announce it like a season's end maybe. But how long do they plan to go? 4, 5? Because they want to get the movie off the ground.
Maybe 5. At the rate they're going, they should just do 5.
Yeah. So they're doing a Book of Fett too? Season 2?
I don't think so.
Not as far as I'm aware. There was nothing announced at Celebration about a second season for Book of Boba Fett. So apparently they actually showed the next episode 7 at Celebration and everything.
Oh,
so I'm a little envious of everybody that got to see that. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, Wednesday will be here in 2 days, so I can wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get to see it. But I always had a suspicion we're eventually gonna see Djarin in a movie. Like I always thought we were gonna see him in a movie.
Right.
Well, apparently this movie that Filoni is going to be doing is going to tie together Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and probably Ahsoka, most likely.
I think that's what he said. I think all 3 of them. Yeah, all 3 of them are going to tie into this movie. So we're going to get... so I'm curious, like, what the title would be. I'm curious. I feel like...
they announced the title.
So this movie will be basically the accumulation of the end of those 3 shows. It'd be like the finale to Mando, right?
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah, and David Filoni, wow, like it's nice to make David Filoni the director for this because he's really the architect. Him and Jon Favreau are the architect of the Disney Plus show. So it's really, I think it was a smart idea for him to helm this. To combine all the shows into one movie is smart on his part. It's great to see Mando in the movie. I mean, Ahsoka needs to be a movie. Boba Fett. And you see how that. It's great. I'm just getting Luke Skywalker. No, I'm kidding. Don't get Luke Skywalker. Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up.
I'm okay if they keep the original cast characters or the original trilogy characters out of this, honestly. It won't bother me in the slightest. The movie,
Yeah.
the movie that I am really intrigued by is the one that James Mangold's going to be directing.
Me too.
That's the
Yeah.
the one about the first Jedi.
The beginning. Yeah, the origins of
Yeah.
the Jedi. I love that.
Well, I have been, to work on my own story, I've had to really dig into the lore of the early history of the Jedi. I mean, they've done stuff on it back before Disney took over. They've done work on.
Mhm.
They've done. They did a book called The Dawn of the Jedi. They've done a comic book series. They've done a rather expansive comic book series. Before the Disney takeover, they were doing a lot of work to try and flesh out the early history of the Jedi, of the Force wielder order before. I mean, this is like 25,000 some odd years ago.
The
I'll be
games,
honest,
man. Some of the games, like National Republic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Knights of the Republic. It's about, if I remember the
Yeah.
chronology correctly, it's like 4,000 to 8,000 years before the events of the original trilogy, or even
Yeah.
the prequels. So
Yeah.
anything, but they're going back further than that, and I loved what James Mangold said. This movie is inspired by the old Hollywood epics like Ben-Hur, like
Ten Commandments, I think you said.
yeah, the Ten Commandments, stuff like that. That, here's a
No.
guy.
No National Republic. It's not canon. The games are
should
not
What is he
canon.
talking about?
It should be.
Well, is he talking about the remake, or is he talking about the script that they have?
Do you think there's like a rumor 1 or 2 years ago that possibly National Republic end up becoming a movie?
Yeah, that's the
But
script.
it's,
They have a finished script,
yeah, it's not canon right now. If
but
they,
the
Oh,
remake.
it should be.
yeah,
But they have a remake. You do remember that?
yeah, they
Oh,
do
yeah,
have a remake. yeah.
I know about the remake, and it kills me that it's only going to be available on the Xbox.
A PlayStation.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
PlayStation?
Yeah, it's Sony.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Or
PlayStation.
are they
So
going to
Sony's
do?
funding it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just suddenly got very happy. No, you guys. Okay, maybe you do understand. Maybe you all played KOTOR. I don't know, but
I have. Yes.
okay. So then you'll understand my elation at the fact that I can play the remaster or remake of KOTOR, because I played the hell out of that game so many times. Either I destroyed the galaxy or I saved it. Either I was Darth Revan, or I was Jedi Revan. I was the redeemed Revan. I played the hell out of that movie, and it absolutely crushed me when KOTOR 2 came out, and it was buggy as hell.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Killed me inside. I'm like, you had the perfect setup and you bungled it. How could you bungle KOTOR 2? I mean, the story's good. Don't get me wrong, but it was buggy. It was glitchy. There were there were side quests you couldn't complete because it was glitchy as hell. I'm like, I want to finish this, and the game wouldn't let me, and it just it drove me freaking nuts.
You know what probably happened to Grassy? They probably saw the receptions of Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, no, we cannot have Taika on Star Wars.
Look, Taika Waititi
He's still
is
making it.
I think he is still making it. I think they said
Yeah,
that.
they said that he's still making it.
Yeah.
Maybe they threw out the script, or they repurposed his script, and now he's doing something new. Because there's a rumor now saying that his Star Wars movie is going to be pushed back because he is going to do the Akira movie, which I don't know.
I thought for a second you just get to Thor 5. I'm like, whoa.
Not Thor 5, Akira. I don't.
Okay.
I'm skeptical.
They're
about
doing a
Taika
live action
Waititi.
Akira.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be
Why?
with Jordan Peele, but now it's with
What?
Taika Waititi.
Why?
Because just
No. No, Akira does not need to be remade. The only thing that needs to be done with Akira is it needs to be made into like a streaming series, because the movie's good. The movie is very good. The movie is iconic. I mean, I talked about it back about a year or so ago, because that was my first introduction to anime.
because
This would be
yeah, he's
interesting.
doing Flash Gordon too, but
Yeah.
I don't
What?
know if he still is. But
Look, some movies do not need a remake.
No,
Some
you're right.
movies
You're
need-
right.
Some movies, okay, Akira, if they were to adapt the manga, that would work because the movie truncates a lot of stuff out of the original manga, which I understand for the purposes of a movie you have to. You only have so much time. But they could take Akira. I mean, like Netflix. I mean, Netflix has done a lot of good anime stuff throughout the years. They could get if they could get the rights to Akira, they could probably adapt it into a series, and
I
it
think-
would probably bang.
I think the only
it-
reason why they wouldn't do a series is because it would be really expensive.
And it might be.
Because
I'm talk-
it seems like cyberpunk movies in general are really expensive. Like the last Blade Runner movie was really expensive. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just building the sets and
Well, here's the thing.
all that stuff.
Akira, you could do it as anime. You could do the series in Japanese anime instead of doing it live action and do it as a
Right.
series, and it would still work. I'm not talking about doing a live action adaptation.
Right.
I'm not talking about doing a live action adaptation of Akira and have it be live action or anything. I'm talking about doing it Japanese anime style,
Mhm.
but do it as a
Yeah, that would
series.
make
That way
more
you
sense,
can.
yeah.
That way you can really tell the full story. You can really get the back history on the character of Akira. You can do a proper adaptation of the story itself.
Right.
And everything instead of like I said, the original movie, it's iconic, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It really opened up the West, it opened up America, people like myself to anime. I love anime even to this day. It's been a long time since I've watched any really good anime. I just have to put my ear to the ground and find out where to go watch the good stuff. So,
Well, where's it gonna head next? I mean, look, the Jedi Order, the origins, the beginning. I'm very interested in that too, Master Ryan, because I mean, we want to know the history of more about the Jedi, right? Like how it came to be, how the Force is, how it works from the beginning, like how the Siths became their ancient enemy. Like what's the reason why for the Siths? I mean, like maybe at one point there was no Siths at all, but
Aaron,
yeah.
Would you like a history lesson? Because I can give you this history lesson.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I'll try and keep it somewhat brief, but I'll try and give enough context. If you have questions, just ask me after. All right. Once upon a time in the Star Wars galaxy, there was the Force, obviously.
Yeah.
And there were beings that gathered individuals from various alien races, some humanoid, some alien, from across the galaxy, brought them to a world and taught them how to manipulate this thing called the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And this continued on for centuries, essentially. Once upon a time, Jedi could have families. Jedi could have kids.
Yes.
Jedi could do everything that everybody else in the galaxy could do, except, well, they could move things with their mind. They could do all sorts of neat things with the Force. Then there was what is known as the Great Schism. Nobody knows the exact reason for the Great Schism, but it was along ideological lines. There were Jedi who felt that the Force was a tool to be used for the benefit of others, and there were Jedi who felt that the Force was also a tool, but it made them better than everybody else, and therefore that they should rule over the galaxy instead.
Oh, see, that's
After the Great Schism. Hang on, you're jumping ahead just a smidge.
I know, obviously.
It's okay.
I mean, it's all okay. Go ahead.
No, don't, Aaron, don't mute yourself. You don't have to mute yourself. This is your channel, not mine. what happens is after the Great Schism, after the Great War between the two sides and everything, the what becomes known as the Dark Jedi, they get exiled, and they go to the world of Korriban, where they find the Sith people, the red-skinned humanoid aliens and everything they find there.
Like Darth Maul.
No, different redskin, different red. If you have ever watched any of the cinematics from the Knights of the Star Wars The Old Republic.
Yeah, I remember. Yes.
Okay. All right. The one Sith Lord that we see with Darth Malgus when they attacked that Republic station in orbit around Korriban. That's what would be known as a pure blood Sith. Those were the Sith people. Throughout the centuries, the Dark Jedi interbred with the Sith people, and they took on the title Dark Lords of the Sith. From that point onward, anybody that was affiliated or attuned to the dark side was known as a Sith. And that's where the term Sith and why it's synonymous with the dark side, where that comes from. Mm. And there have been, throughout the centuries before the events of the prequel trilogy, I mean, you do see some of it. I imagine there has been some instances in the High Republic where the Jedi and the Sith would clash with one another.
Maybe they'll explore on James Mangold's movie.
That's a very distinct possibility.
Because you kind of have to, right? You kind of need a Jedi have their enemy, like, or maybe.
Well, here's the thing. Once upon a time, in the way back, all Force wielders were known as Jedi, but it was spelled differently. It had a different phonemes and everything, different little accent marks on it, and so on. And but the Jedi in the way back, they weren't intertwined into the Republic. They weren't affiliated with the Republic per se. They were their own independent body. They kept to themselves for the most part. They didn't really start getting intertwined until the Great Schism, and then the Dark Jedi / the Sith would start attacking the Republic, more or less. That's how that whole situation. And then this is actually referenced in the Plagueis novel. There was a time when there were actually high chancellors that were Jedi over the Senate. But that ended after a while and just became normal individuals that were elected in. DeGrancy, yeah.
Mysterio is a character that
sorry. I don't know what happened there.
It's okay. So, but there's your history lesson on the history of the Force and the Jedi.
Interesting. Yeah, I never really got so much into outside of really just the live action stuff.
I know, like, I know Siths are allowed. Obviously, the reason why Jedi are not allowed to have families anymore because they all believe at least it's a dark side, pain, suffering, all right? Like Anakin, basically. I know Siths, Master, you could back me up on this, I think. I know Siths had managed to have families.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Darth Malgus, the primary Sith that we see from the Old Republic cinematics that they have done, the trailers over back several years ago. That one Twi'lek that was with him when he infiltrated or stormed the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, that was actually his wife.
Yeah,
that was his wife. He ended up eventually. I can't remember if he killed her, but she, I think, in a way, volunteered for the simple fact that she realized that she was a vulnerability to him. So, here's the thing. This is something I've kind of delved into in my own story. The Force, the light, the dark side, it's all a matter of perspective. The Force is what you make of it. The Force It has a will of its own. Hence why Anakin was created, because Plagueis and Palpatine did something they ought not try to do. They tried to manipulate the midichlorians. They tried to snooker the Force, and the Force is like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. So we're going to go do this thing.
Do best of me.
Yeah, I'm the Force. I am the reason why you have any ability at all anyway.
Mm.
But, you know, the one other thing, I can't remember who mentioned it in the chat. Let me bring it up here. Let's see, Degrassi, Mortis, the father, the son, the daughter. Here's the interesting thing, Degrassi. I actually use that whole construct in my story, and I won't spoil as to why. But the lore that I built was that the father, the son, the daughter. The father existed alone once upon a time. The son and daughter came after him. After the Jedi or the Force wielders started seeing the Force in terms of light and dark. And therefore, the Force split off into two other beings, the son and the daughter. The daughter being the light side, the son being the dark side. Because while the Force has a will of its own, it can be to a degree manipulated or influenced by those who use it, aka the Force wielders or the Jedi. And that's where the son and the daughter came from. But that's just my own little contribution to the mythos of the Star Wars universe.
Mm.
You know
Take it for
what?
you will.
You know what's an interesting concept? Acolyte. You know the acolyte? You know what it's based on, right? It's based on twins, a set of twins. They're not no twins. One's on the light side, one's on the dark side.
Yeah, I read that post a few days ago on, I think it was Twitter or somewhere,
Yeah.
about the Acolyte. That's another series I'm really going to be interested in. I'm not going to lie. How much of the Ahsoka trailer have you discussed yet, Aaron, or have you gotten into that yet?
We didn't talk about it yet.
Oh, Bastard, you want to link it to your channel? He likes it. Just your views. You want to put your channel? I don't subscribe. You're a mod, I think. You're a mod.
I am, yeah. The only problem is I'm on my iPad right now.
Oh,
I'll post it.
okay.
It's just the ambassadorial wing. Star Wars is one of many things I discuss. It isn't just that. But that's just... I try to look at the stuff that I care about from a educated, okay, not educated, but from a informed perspective rather than just shooting from the hip. So.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that's interesting with the whole concept of twins. I'm wondering. It's great. I agree. I like how like in the original prequels, right? Star Wars has always seemed like that's the New Hope and all that. Like the light side's always been known as the good side, right? And then the dark side has always been the evil side. But as you know, lately with Star Wars, there's shades of gray and everything now. I like how they added all that stuff because you would think go ahead.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
I just like the kind of stuff where not everything is pure good or pure evil in any kind of entertainment kind of lore. I like how there's shades of greater stuff there that you're like, ugh. Like, for example, like
there's conflict.
Yeah, there's conflict.
Well,
I like how the New Republic, you would think to be on the right side, right, the good side, but they're shady.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any large bureaucratic structure is going to have some shadier elements to it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Star Wars has always been a moral tale more so than anything else. I mean, there's other stuff going on with it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But remember what Obi-Wan said to Luke in Return of the Jedi. Many of the truths that we cling to are greatly dependent on our own point of view.
Yeah.
And that's echoed in Revenge of the Sith during the final duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Anakin sees the Jedi as evil. Why does he see them as such? Because they forbid him from having a life outside of the order. They forbid him from being with the woman that he loves and living his life in the open with her. He forbids them from. They forbid him from having the means to save his wife's life. Now, Palpatine is evil, but there's actually some truth that he says that is valid. When he said to Anakin, when he reveals himself in Revenge of the Sith, when he says, to understand the great mystery, one must explore or examine all parts of the Force. Not just the light, not just the dark, all of it. That's what gives the Sith and Palpatine an edge.
Mm-hmm.
What one does with the powers and abilities they have dictates the type of person that they will be. Anakin came from a place, an altruistic place. Some might see it as somewhat greedy because he wanted to save the life of his wife. But
a lot of things happen. I mean, his wife, especially, but I think it all led up to that. I think it's from him being a slave, losing his mother, and then eventually his wife was like, they found a nail in the coffin when he turned. Because he just be honest, he didn't have his life was full of pain, despite being trained as a Jedi.
Anakin,
and remember in Phantom Menace, the Jedi Order was reluctant for Qui-Gon to take him under this ring to be his Padawan.
Yeah.
They felt darkness in him. That's because of all the pain that they feel, because they could see, they felt all the pain of him being a slave, his mother, all of that. Like, usually the Jedi Order, if they felt like that, they would not let him be trained as a Jedi. But they believe in they highly respected Qui-Gon, so they let him. But
they let Obi-Wan train him.
Obi-Wan train.
They let Obi-Wan train Anakin.
Yeah.
Now, to kind of tie this into Ahsoka, I have, and I imagine this is a general consensus, I have a strong suspicion that we will be seeing a Force apparition of Anakin at some point during this series. Don't know when, don't know where, but I would wager he's going to pop up somewhere. Now, as to the trailer, that trailer was everything. I didn't know what I was to expect, but that trailer gave us a very solid idea of where this season or this series is going to go, whether it's going to be a multi-season series or just a one-off. But that trailer, as I said on Twitter, I rarely get chills anymore. That trailer for Ahsoka gave me chills. And not because of the name drop of this particular novel that kind of was the kickoff for the old expanded universe, the Heir to the Empire, but because it's got two characters that I've loved for a very long time, and one that I've come to greatly appreciate. One being Ahsoka, which I've come to appreciate, and the one that I've loved for a long time, that being Thawne. Now, I know people had an issue with how they wrote Thawne in Rebels, but for the most part, what they did with Thawne in Rebels and how he behaved and how he acted wasn't far off from how he behaved and how he acted in the novels. The Heir of the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, and I now need to go reread those three novels. I actually have first editions. I got the very first batch that came out in like the mid 90s when those came out in hardback. They're kind of like one of the crown jewels of my collection. Because it's hard to anything to keep a first edition of anything in decent condition, especially if you read it a lot. But yeah, we're getting the reintroduction of Ahsoka, obviously, this is gonna be her show, but we're finally getting Thrawn in live action.
Yeah.
This is something Star Wars fans have dreamed of for a very long time. The fact that they actually cast an actor who did the voice for him, and I will say this: I've only heard like audiobook adaptations of Thrawn's voice, but what Lars Mikkelsen did with his voice performance, it was exactly what I would have imagined Thrawn to
Yeah,
sound
so
like.
that's what they do very well with the live action. They get the actor who voiced the character to be the character.
Mhm.
Well, and I'll even say
Most of
this: seeing just that silhouette,
Yeah.
just seeing the back of him and seeing a little bit of that dark hair slicked back, and then they finally
Mhm.
showed a more high quality image of the front of him. He looked right.
Yeah.
The only issue, and this is just a minor nitpick, Chiss are not supposed to have pupils in their eyes. They're supposed to be solid red eyes with no pupil, just like the Duros, like Cad Bane's race. But
Mhm.
again, that's a minor nitpick that I can let slide.
So Thawne must get in. I'm gonna they're gonna team up. Well, pretty much the Empire.
Well, here's the thing. I think, aside from the magistrate that we met in season 2 of Mandalorian, I have very strong reason to believe that Gideon is an officer in Thrawn's operation.
Okay, makes sense.
I think he was a subordinate. I think he was an officer or is an officer. Because let's think about it. You've got a Moff, obviously a high-ranking Moff. He wasn't a Grand Moff. He was just a not a rank and file, but he was just a General Moff. And you've got the one and only alien Grand Admiral, and possibly the only surviving Grand Admiral from the Empire teamed up. That's going to be scary. Not to mention, you've got these two Dark Jedi, this Baylan Skoll and I can't remember her last name, but I remember her first name, the Shin girl, the Shin, the female Dark Jedi that we see in the trailer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I love the fact that their lightsabers are not.
General Hux.
I doubt it. He would. Well, here's the thing: Hux in the sequel trilogy, he was young, or at least he was middle-aged. He was not. He was not.
Was he always?
Not
was he always Empire, or was he always a spy, or just?
No, I don't count that whole spy nonsense that they toss in the Rise of Skywalker. Now, granted, we very well could see Pelion at some point. We might see him in the movie that Filoni's going to be directing.
Well, his father.
They could go that direction if they wanted to, but as far as I'm aware, Pelion had no children. Pelion was a bachelor. He was an officer all his life. At least in the old expanded universe. Actually, Pelion was one of the officers that was able to negotiate the treaty between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant to finally end the war once and for all. Which is funny because he has been there. He had been with the Empire for a very long time. Now they could go that direction and have Pelion be Hux's like father or maybe grandfather. Because remember, it depends on the timing. It depends on if Pelion even shows up. Because remember, Hux is an officer in the First Order. We don't know if the Imperial Remnant goes off to become the First Order, or if the First Order is its own independent faction. Now, being they've never mentioned the Imperial Remnant, so Mando Hux's sequel, Hux's father. I don't see that.
Randall Hux. That's a funny name. Randall Hux.
Dan is not Hux's father.
I know. But it's
Honestly,
funny though. The way he
I
put
don't
it.
think we need. I don't think we honestly need that linkage and everything. I don't think
Dude,
we
you-
need to know. I don't think we need to know the pedigree or the lineage of
The bastard. Be-
Armitage Hux.
Me, Blind, and some of my friends joke around the Mandalorians because they're not allowed to have kids. I'm like, do they kiss? Because they're not allowed to take off their helmets. In front of each other, right? They're not allowed to have somebody witness them take off their helmet just so they see their face. we don't know if they're not right blinded.
No, Degrassi, no offense, but I looked this up. It is Armitage. Hux's first name was Armitage.
Yes.
Yep. Played by Donald Gleason.
Yeah.
Who is Brendan Gleason's son, if I remember correctly.
Yes. The actor who played One-Eyed Moody in Goblet of Fire.
Well, he played Menelaus and Troy. He was Agamemnon's brother.
Yeah.
First time I ever saw Brendan Gleeson in any movie was Lake Placid. With
yes, he was the police chief.
He was the sheriff.
Yeah, sheriff. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the sheriff.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I mean, it was the first time I ever heard Betty White cuss.
Yeah.
It made me have a nice day, Officer F Meat. I'm like, did Betty White just cuss?
Carry it back. Yeah, I want to just have a Jar Jar Binks spin-off. So I'm kidding.
I'm sorry. I liked that flashback scene, and
I did too.
I was honestly surprised when the credits came up. I'm like, who did Ahmed Best play? I don't remember him. Was he one of the officers and everything? One of the Naboo officers or soldiers? And then it came up. No, that was him that saved Grogu. I'm like, well, I just feel sheepish.
As my friend George would say, Jar Jar Binks is responsible for the Empire, the rise of the Empire, because he gave all the power to Palpatine in the Senate.
Oh, I get you, Degrassi. Okay, I didn't know that they ever established who Hux's father was. My mistake. Sorry.
Yeah. So let's talk about the big movie, the big thing. I think we get that. We're gonna get Daisy Ridley's back. Oh, Blinder will come back. Don't worry. Daisy Ridley is coming back, and in the movie, that's gonna set 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, the New Jedi Order. Basically, to summarize, it's just gonna start basically what Luke tried to do in the Mandalorian. No, in Book of Fett, when he tried to.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, Blind Bro. Yeah. So that's what she's gonna try to do 15 years later. Obviously, she'd be older. I don't think she'd be much older. I think she's relatively young.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be I guess searching for force sensitive people because you kind of need to if you're gonna start a new order. If there's not any Jedi left, we don't know in 15 years after. We don't know how many Jedi are. It could be lots, but
there could that's the one big problem with the sequel trilogy. We don't know the shape of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is that there's these two factions, the First Order and the Resistance, that's supposedly tied to the New Republic, that are button heads. And beyond that, we don't know jack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This, of everything that was announced at Celebration, this is the one project I am the least invested in. But I will comment on it here. Here's the thing. I never had a personal beef with Daisy Ridley. She came in to play a part. The problem is her part was badly butchered. As I said on Twitter the other day, and I'll kind of repeat it here. Rey was not so much a character as she was a mystery box. Unfortunately, she was a mystery box that didn't necessarily go anywhere. First, she was a nobody. Then she was the grandchild of the big bad in the Star Wars universe. Talk about a retcon of a retcon. I mean, okay, if you're going to keep her a nobody, fine. Just keep her a nobody that has Force abilities. But the problem was they bungled her opportunity to be trained so immensely that they had to do a major retcon in the last movie of this of the quote unquote trilogy to make sense of why she's so good at the Force, using the Force without any formal training, unlike her grandfather and several thousand generations of both Sith and Jedi went through. We don't know to what extent, how much damage. All we know is that Starkiller Base destroyed the Hazian system, which was supposedly the governmental seat of the New Republic at that time. That's the long and short of what we know. We don't know anything beyond that. Now, granted, we didn't have as much information in the original trilogy about the conflict, but at that time you didn't necessarily need that much because at that time it was just one movie. Now, obviously, as they did the rest of the original trilogy, they fleshed it out more. You had the Emperor, you had Vader, you had the Imperial Navy, you had the Moffs underneath and the governors. That gave you enough of an idea of this shape and scale of who was in charge and who was fighting against who was in charge. With the sequel trilogy, they had all that world building in place that they could just move forward, but instead they just completely ignored it because people threw a conniption fit because this prequel trilogy had what they called too much talking. And I'm using air quotes, obviously y'all can't see me doing it.
Yeah.
What Lucas was doing with the prequel trilogy is he was doing a lot of world building, particularly with the Phantom Menace. You have to have world building for the rest of the story to make sense. You have to give scale. You have to give scope. You have to give an idea of the disposition of things. Now, could he have made it pop a little bit better? Yeah, probably he could have. But we're kind of armchair directing at this point. That reaction to the prequels, I think, overly influenced what was done with the sequel trilogy. But now here's the big problem. We're talking about 15 years on after the Rise of Skywalker. We have absolutely no idea what the shape of the galaxy is at this time. Yeah, they destroyed Palpatine. Yeah, they seemingly destroyed the Final Order. But guess what? They didn't destroy the rest of the First Order. For all we know, they're still floating around out there. There could still be conflict going on.
There could be other parts of the galaxy. Like you would think, because it's basically the same thing with that end of Return of the Jedi. You would think the end of Darth Vader, the end of the Palpatine, that would be the end of the Empire, but nope. As we know in Mandalorian, the Empire is still technically out there.
Yeah. I mean, we know that they're very splintered and they're very fractured, obviously, but you don't just brush a galaxy-spanning empire under the rug and just go, "Oh, they're no problem. They're no longer a problem."
They're all gone.
There's still gonna be a problem, and I have a feeling they're gonna rear their ugly, head.
They could dispatch a bunch of rebel officers around the whole galaxy to round up all the Empire, all the people belonging to the Empire.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I know.
But here's the thing with Rey's movie. They are going to have to do a lot, and I mean a lot of they're gonna have to do a lot of legwork to get this movie to work on any conceivable level. Because let's all be candid here. I'm as hardcore as a Star Wars fan as you will find. I've covered Star Wars on my channel rather extensively. I have been a fan of Star Wars since 1983 when I went to see A Return of the Jedi in theaters when it originally released. Star Wars has been a huge part of my life. And I know enough to know they're taking conceivably the least interesting character. And I mean that in the most generous sense that I can give it. The most uninteresting, the least intriguing character from the last 3 trilogies and forming a movie around her. Now, I know there are people out there that love Rey to death, love her character, love her story, love her all the way around. And you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to tell you can't like Rey. But there is a large demographic of Star Wars fans that are like, we don't give a rat's ass about Rey.
No, you're right.
I mean it.
You're right.
I mean, go ahead,
That's
Aaron.
to me.
Please.
To me, that's on their fault because they didn't know what direction to go with Rey. I mean, I think J.J. Abrams had a direction. Obviously, he had a direction. It's just they left it in the hands of Rian Johnson, and J.J. Abrams had tried to course correct Rey's story, and it didn't really work. And also, you could say that with other characters in those sequel movies, like Finn really got shafted, I would say. Especially in Rise of Skywalker, Finn was like wasted. There was nothing with Finn. Like, Finn was just there.
I've been I've been saying on this for a while because me and my wife are still working on the editing for it.
Okay.
But about a year or so ago, I started writing a fan fiction of my own version of the Rise of Skywalker, essentially. It has blossomed into something far bigger than that. I'm essentially going to be writing my own version of the sequel trilogy, except my version's going to make sense. I pretty much I gutted the entire script and storyline of the Rise of Skywalker and only kept up like a third, if that much, like a quarter of that script or that story. Let me put it that way, not the script, because I'm not plagiarizing the script by any stretch. And I did what a lot of professional writers couldn't do, or either couldn't do or chose not to do. I chose the obvious route. I made Finn a Force sensitive. I made him a Force wielder, but he's apprehensive because he's heard about all of the bad stuff that's gone on with Jedi that fall to the dark side. He's heard it from Luke. He's heard it from Leia. He's heard it from Anakin's own lips. Because I have the Force Ghosts of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda in my story.
Mm-hmm.
Now, eventually, he decides he wants to train, but he wants Anakin to train him. Anakin agrees. And before Ahsoka and Grogu were ever brought in, well, Ahsoka more so than Grogu, I put Ahsoka and Grogu in my story. And I have Finn training with Ahsoka. I have a bond there. I have a relationship there. A master and apprentice type of relationship. Same deal with Anakin and Finn. And within just in the little bit I've mentioned, why couldn't they have done that with Finn in their movies? Finn got done during...
Yeah, I thought they were going down the road that he was going to be Force sensitive, not just Rey. It just seemed like that, right? He might be later than Rey because Rey obviously the force was, it was quicker for her to understand, for her to see, but it would have
Yeah,
been different
in the
for
way
Finn.
that they wrote Rey, yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
I'm not saying that Daisy really is necessarily a bad actress. By no means. She's done good stuff in her career, although her career got kind of shot in the leg or anything because of the reception from the sequel trilogy. But she is a competent actress. She does have good acting ability. She just has to be given a good script and good direction to flourish under.
John Boyega. His character has got the worst of the three, and he's done fine. I mean, he's been Woman King,
Yeah.
right? Like, he's done fine. Oscar Isaac hasn't been hurt at all. Poe,
No.
not at
No,
all.
because-
Like, yeah.
Let's see.
And here's
he's
Adam
done
Driver.
Yeah, Adam Driver's done stuff post sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, Oscar Isaac, he did Moon Knight. He had his role in Dune Part 1. Now, granted, obviously his character gets killed, but that's how the story goes with Dune. But I will
It
say
still means he still got a pretty big role.
For the screen time that he had in Dune Part 1. Oscar Isaac was excellent as Duke Leto Atreides.
Oh, the grassy little That's what you're looking at, huh? That's what you care
For
about.
heavens. Here's the thing. They're going to have a hard slog ahead of them to try and make this Rey movie work. Now, is it possible that they might be able to
It's gonna be the first movie of the three.
Are they good? Yeah, are they going to be able to salvage it? Yeah, probably. If they've got the right director. Now, I don't know who this woman is that's going to be directing the Rey movie. I'm not aware of what she's done in her past. Probably have to do some looking into it.
I'll look up her filmography, her resume. I never heard of her either.
So
apparently, she's going to get apparently Kathleen Kennedy, like, she's going to get the script from the writer, the director, in like in a month and a half. So this movie could go into like pre-development rather quickly.
It just, I want Star Wars back in theaters, but is this really the right movie?
She's directed 2 episodes of Miss Marvel.
Okay.
That's probably another from mostly from, but she directed a lot of small stuff. She's actually Canadian. I think she was born in Pakistan, but she moved to Canada.
Okay, so she's Pakistani, but she moved to Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, but
Mm-hmm.
The thing is this really what Disney wants to do is with their first cinematic offering since the Rise of Skywalker.
Remember Ambassador, in the past, they try to get, when they got big time directors, they tend to let them go. Because the history of Lucasfilms, right? They get the directors, and then all of a sudden they leave. How many times have they hired a director to do this movie, and they end up leaving?
I mean, just look at what happened to Patty Jenkins. I mean, the Rogue Squadron movie's probably been shelved indefinitely. I mean, I know that that's due in part not so much to anything necessarily creative differences, but more so due to the reception of Wonder Woman 84. I mean, I know this is going to be kind of a hot take or a controversial take. I liked Wonder Woman 84. I don't see the issues with it that everybody else does, but again, that's my own 2 cents on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I really have to ask the question, is this a smart strategy? Is it smart that after, let's see, the Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019? Depending on what is released first, if the film with Rey is going to be the first movie out of the chute since 2019, is that really a smart strategy for Lucasfilm and for Disney, considering the reception of the sequel trilogy, especially The Rise of Skywalker? Wouldn't it be a safer bet to either, not necessarily fast track, but to kind of get the pre-production and the script off the ground for James Mangold's movie, or even for Dave Filoni's movie first? I mean, let's be honest here. James Mangold has a very strong
That's the
reputation.
thing. That's the difference I see with Marvel and Star Wars. Star Wars, all the Disney Plus shows take place in the past at some era, right? Like Obi-Wan is a different era. Obi-Wan takes place between
it takes place in between the original trilogy and
same
the
with Andor, right? Same with Andor, right?
Yeah, it takes place. It takes
but,
place.
But the thing is, when they want to do like some stuff in between Rise of Skywalker and this new Jedi Order, like something like that.
Like, well, all the shows that they've been doing, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and now Ahsoka, minus Andor, take place in between the Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, if we're gonna have after Rise of Skywalker, then you're in the next big movie, which is gonna be the next big thing is a new Jedi Order. Maybe we should have like a show or two in between Rise of Skywalker and New Jedi Order.
The question is anybody going to watch it there? And that's
it's true.
Is anybody going? I mean,
I'll be open for a poll.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I know they got Oscar Isaac to do Moon Knight, and I liked Moon Knight.
Does he want to be committed to franchises?
Yeah. So the question,
same company but two franchises.
Yeah. The question is, how much can they do between Rey's film and The Rise of Skywalker that people are actually going to be interested in? Because let's be honest, let's be perfectly honest here. It is not, there's not a lot of fertile ground there for storytelling that the public or even the fan base is going to be interested in to watch or anything, considering
especially the reception to Rise of Skywalker.
Well, the sequel trilogy as a whole. So
yeah.
Aaron, I'll be right back, bud. I gotta take care of something.
I'm gonna end it soon anyway, in a couple minutes though, because 10 o'clock. So
okay.
I want to get your final thoughts. I'm gonna end it now anyway. So any final thoughts overall celebration? Where go ahead.
As far as celebration goes, I mean, as I said on Twitter, I'll say here, Star Wars fans, we ate well the last several days. I mean, in terms of the announcements, the Jedi Survivor, that's gonna be a fun ride. Dave Filoni's film, James Mangold's film, I'm very excited for. The Rey film, they're gonna have an uphill battle on that. That's the honest truth of it. Everything, but about the Ahsoka trailer, that, like I said, I was excited for Ahsoka before any trailer came out. I liked Ahsoka. I liked her when she was originally introduced back in 2008 with the Clone Wars movie. She was a little off-putting, but they really did some work on the character, really fleshed her out, made her less annoying. And she had a really good story arc, and obviously her arc is going to continue into this live-action film with Rosario Dawson. So, contrary to the reports, Star Wars is not dead.
Doomcock.
Star Wars is by no means dead, and the future for Star Wars
is bright because it's happening.
There's an issue on the horizon with the Rey film, but aside from that, I am as always very optimistic and very hopeful.
Yeah,
as our favorite, as everyone's favorite Jedi Master.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll say that,
and that's fair.
Yeah.
So.
No. Oh yeah, Skeleton Crew. Yeah, I know nothing about Sean Levy. No, it's a rumor right now. Nothing. Yeah, thank you, Ambassador. With my thoughts, I'm curious. Ahsoka trailer looks great. I'm curious how all those 3 shows lead up to the movie. We don't have a title for the movie that David Filoni is going to do. Well, but I think the thing is we're going to have to be patient because I don't think that movie will come for at least another 3 to 5 years. I think the Rey of the 3. I think the Rey movie is most likely one to come out. But I'm excited for James Mangold's movie. Because not just because it's
I am
Star Wars,
too.
because I'm a big fan of James Mangold's movies. I love Ford versus Ferrari, Logan. I'm looking forward to Indiana Jones 5. And I'll tell you one thing, Bash. I want to know your thoughts on this. Swamp Thing. It's official. He's doing Swamp Thing.
Oh, James Mangold's in Swamp Thing?
It's official now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was rumored for some time, but it's become official. Yeah.
I'll give it. I'll probably check it out once it comes out. I mean, because anything that James Mangold's attached to, the only thing of James Mangold I haven't seen is Ford versus Ferrari. I mean, obviously,
you gotta see it. It's really good.
That's what I've heard. I never got around to seeing it. I mean, I loved his work with Walk the Line. I mean, I loved Logan. So for me, anything. Well, a bit of a hot take before we close. I liked the Wolverine. I didn't hate it either. It was a very entertaining film. I thought it was a very good standalone for the character of Logan, and I think it's a bit underappreciated. I mean, I did a review of it back last year, so
I didn't hate it either, man. I didn't hate it. I mean, it's not his best movie.
I think it's honestly very underrated, and I don't know why it's underrated because it's a very solid film. I don't understand why people have the position on the Wolverine that they do. Why they love the Wolverine, why they don't like the Wolverine, but they love Logan. They're both essentially tied together.
They are.
So just with a very large time jump.
Thank you, Ambassador. So that's for Let's Talk Pop episode 17, Star Wars Focus. 18, I don't know when I'm going to do 18. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. But if the Captain Marvel trailer drops on Tuesday, I might do it on Tuesday. Not the Marvels trailer.
You mean the Marvels? The Marvels?
Yeah. Yeah, if it drops, maybe I'll have to focus on that. Or it might just be a regular Let's Talk Pop stream. Let's Talk Pop stream where I talk about everything, and not just Marvel's trailer, but everything, the news that's coming. There hasn't really been a lot of movie news this weekend, obviously because of Easter and obviously the Jewish holidays. Most of Star Wars stuff, that's it. But that may change starting tomorrow. There might not be any news because it's still Easter Monday, so it might be a slow news day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure.
My suggestion, this is just my suggestion, do them as there's actually something to talk about. Don't just pull stuff out of your butt.
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. I randomly do a stream. Like when I did a Harry Potter stream like 5 days ago because of the Harry Potter news. They're doing a reboot. I want to just talk about that for about half an hour to an hour, focus on that. And sometimes my streams are focused on a topic, just such a topic, or sometimes my streams will be on a bunch of topics. The news, the big news, the very important news, the big news that people want to talk about. Yeah, or in 2 or 3 days, because I don't want to do this show every day. Honestly, it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Ambassador.
Darren, you're welcome.
You can plug yourself again. Man.
My channel's the Ambassador. I've been on a bit of hiatus. I'm still streaming. I'm still I'm working on a few review series that I'm going to be popping up over the next few months. I do a lot of movie reviews. That's my primary thing. I do streaming reviews as well, Mandalorian and other series and everything along those lines. So Aaron's popped the link in the chat and everything. And Aaron, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'll get your channel. Just give me a minute.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Here, let's see if it pops up. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so thank you guys. Yeah. Actually, on my sports channel, I'm doing a lot of planned streams on my sports channel, but that's a different story. Thank you, Ambassador. Remember, comment on the replay. Obviously, after this is done being live, like, share, subscribe, and whatever. Enjoy your weekend. Weekend's over. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your holidays. Whether you're celebrating Easter, celebrating Passover, or whatever holiday you're celebrating, or if you're not celebrating a holiday, I'll just enjoy the week. Take care, guys.
Night, everybody.